What is up, guys? I'm Stu with the Gym Real Estate Company. We help gym owners lease and buy buildings. And today I'm going to show you how to use our site analysis tool, which is located for free on the website, so that you can do a side-by-side comparison of two or more different locations that you might be considering. Now, obviously, I highly recommend you hire us because it costs you nothing and the landlord's going to be the one to pay us, and we'll take care of all this for you. But if you like to crunch your own numbers and you're a DIY kind of person, by all means, use this tool. Now, I'm going to go through this initially just kind of quickly, how to use it as a utility, just what it does, how to use it. And then I'll come back. If you want to stick around, I'm going to kind of geek out on some different factors and things that a lot of our clients don't always think about when they're looking at two different locations. And hopefully it'll help some of you guys. All right. So pretty simple stuff here. All right. You're going to add the properties, enter in the details, analyze it, and essentially figure out on a economical basis which location is best for you. There's a lot of ways to analyze two different sites, and the economic way of how much will each location cost me over the entire term of the lease is just one way. The other ways, unfortunately, they're not easy. You can't just put them in a calculator. There's so many other variables. What permits have been pulled in this area? How is it gentrifying? Is there going to be new development? Is there growth happening here? I mean, there's just a ton of different factors to calculate in when comparing two sites. So I wouldn't use this as an end all be all, but if we're looking straight on a dollar for dollar comparison, this is a great tool. All right. First thing we're going to do here, we're going to look at property one. So let's go ahead and you're looking at your first property. Let's just say that's 123 Main Street. And square footage, we're going to say you're looking at something that's 3,600 square feet. And you're going to do an initial term of 10 years. Base rent. Hypothetically, let's say this base rent came in at $34 per square foot. And we're looking at 3% annual increases. Okay. Now, you're only going to be able to come up with these dollar amounts once you've gone through the furthest rounds of negotiation you can, right? You don't know what these numbers would be until you start negotiating, which is, again, another reason to hire us so we can do it for you. But I'm making the assumption that we have negotiated this thing to the furthest extent. And when we look at these two sites, these are the two deals that are on the table. All right, rent abatement. In this particular site, the landlord is offering us 3 months at 100% rent abatement, meaning once construction is completed and you are open for business, they are providing 3 months of rent abatement. Meaning you don't have to pay anything for the first 90 days that you're open for business. Triple net. So triple net is a type of lease, the most popular type of lease, in which the landlord passes down his cost in property taxes, building insurance, and common area maintenance to the tenant, and is generally represented in a price per square foot. Let's say in this example, it is $4 a square foot per year for all of those triple net charges. And in terms of thinking of how triple net's going to increase, a safe number is about 3% per year. However, triple net may go up, it might not move at all, and it might go down every year. It all depends because we don't know what the property taxes, the cost for building insurance, and the common area maintenance is going to do year to year. But we're just going to go ahead for the sake of being conservative, put in 3%. And TI. So in TI or TIA, tenant improvement allowance, those are essentially monies the landlord gives you for leasehold improvements, meaning these are mechanical, electrical, and plumbing improvements to the space. It could also manifest things in drywall or in lighting and things like that. But typically, these are leasehold improvements, meaning they would benefit the space no matter who leased it. You will never get monies for tenant-specific improvements. If you want certain equipment over there, it's not going to go to that. If you want certain flooring or certain signage or a mural, that's all on you. Those are tenant-specific improvements. And in this particular deal, the landlord is not offering any TI. All right, so we're just going to leave that blank, or we'll throw a 0 in there. Down here's, you could put in variable costs, these out-of-pocket costs and additional. I'm not going to do that, but if you have this information and you're analyzing sites, I highly recommend you put it in. Otherwise, we're just going to look at this deal heads up on the deal terms compared to this second site. So once you have all the information with your first site, click Add Property. You could copy property data from one to the other if it's widely the same, okay, and then just adjust a few things that are off. But instead, we're going to just create new property data. So this is going to be 456, West Boulevard. Square footage, this one's a little bit bigger. It's at 4,200 square feet. We're doing a 10-year term, just like the other one. square price per square foot. So this one's going to be a little bit less. We're going ahead and we're going to be looking at this. This is $28 a square foot, 3% annual increase. The landlord is not offering any rent abatement on this deal, meaning once your construction period, the agreed upon timeline is done, you're paying rent. Triple net. Now, triple net here is a little more expensive. We're at $670 a square foot with 3% annual increases, making the same assumption as we did on the first one. And on TI, the landlord is actually going to offer some TI. Now, this TI is done in a price per square foot. All right. So generally landlords will say, hey, I'll give you this amount of money and a price per square foot. And let's say in this particular example, they're offering $30 a square foot in TI. Again, I'm not doing any of the out-of-pocket costs or additional. Those variables just are too wide. If you have them, put them in. Now, once you're done, come on up here and click Analyze Properties. You'll scroll to the bottom and you'll now see an analysis. It is going to highlight in green the location that has the lowest financial requirement over the entire term of the lease. So as you can see here, the first property, 123 Main Street, remember that was 3,600 square feet, 10-year term, no TI, but there was rent abatement, and the rent abatement saved you about $10,200. But over the course of the lease, we have a total cost over the entire 10 years of $1,213,800 plus triple net of $144, which gives you a total of $1,357,800. Compared to the other site, when you add all those up, that one, the total is $1,457,400. So this is why it is highlighted in green, because the overall cost over the entire term of the lease is less. It's a very simple spreadsheet equation made into a cute little calculator. Okay. Now, a lot of us might have gone in and looked at this and been like, oh, wait, but initially I thought maybe the West Boulevard location would be better because we got $126,000 in TI. Well, no, that's great that you got $126,000 in TI. However, boom, this is what the all-in rent is because this was the larger site. Remember, this is an additional 800 square feet larger. Okay, so this is why it's super important to understand the economics. Now, for those of you that want to stick around just to geek out with me for a second, because I fucking love this stuff, it is ultimately something you want to think about is these additional costs. So you got to start thinking about it. Well, in the scenario of this location that's given the TI, your construction cost is likely going to be lower because the landlord is providing some TI. Whereas at Main Street here, there is no TI. So all the construction cost is on you. Well, if we were to add in construction cost here, okay. Sarah Isaac calling, none of that. If we were to add in construction costs here, this might flip-flop it. It might come out. So let's say the construction cost on location 1 with no TI comes out to be $280,000. All right. And you could go in here and put your architect fees, permit fees, all that. But let's just do the construction costs. All right. And that's on location. Nope. We got to go back to Main Street. So always make sure. Don't be like an idiot like I just did. Make sure when you're making changes, you're on the right property. So we're back to Main Street. We're going to go ahead and say, well, the construction cost is $280,000 here. Okay. And because we're getting TI on the 456 West Boulevard, our construction cost is only, let's say it's only going to be $160,000 because the TI the landlord's giving has been helpful. Come back up to the top, hit analyze. Oh, look at that. It switched. Now 456 Main Street, okay, is the less expensive option because mainly it's calculating in here now. You have this initial upfront cost in construction, right? So it took the construction cost, subtracted the TI, and this is what you're left with in terms of that. So this is a great way. And again, it's the best spreadsheet that you're going to have to do this. Technically, if you just want to just quickly look at two locations on a deal-to-deal basis, there's obviously variables in here because we can negotiate that TI, what it's going to go towards. We can negotiate, spreading that TI cost over the course of the loan. There's almost so many different options to dice this deal up. If you're like, man, Stu, I know this isn't, or let's say you want it like 123 Main Street, I know is the more expensive one, but I really want this one. This is the one I really, really want. How do we get this deal to look more like this deal? And that's the magic of what me and the team of the Jim Real Estate Company do. So if you have any questions, please hit us up. Head over to www.jimrealestate.co. We'd love to work with you on your commercial real estate project. You don't have to go at this alone, and you don't have to pay us a thing. It's the best deal out there. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you in the next video.